Oftentimes, as young people, we're told that there is not much we can do for our community when the truth is, or not much we can do for ourselves in order to make money. The truth is that we need to start thinking positively. We need to start creating our own jobs right here in Belize. It's 2020, 2021. We want to see more young people involved in the community. So what I'm doing today is that I'm pitching an idea to get young people working, and this is for anybody who wants to pick it up as an entrepreneurial idea. And the vision for this is that I'm seeing that we could put young people to work by giving them jobs that will assist also our community in solving some of its issues. Now, one of the main issues we have in our community, and I think it's one of the biggest issues that should have been tackled, was the issue of drainage, right? And I see this because oftentimes we see our roads being eroded and our roads being used as drains. So, concept I'm coming up with today is that we want to build precast U drainage, and I'm making them 3 feet in length. And of course, this then can be purchased by your town council. It can be purchased by anyone who wants to do drainage in their area. It makes the process faster and more efficient. So it means then that you can put up a drain in a day or two. You get to employ people for different areas. You're cutting costs instead of having to go in and frame the entire drain. You're just setting in the pieces like blocks, and so these can be sold as blocks. But have a look at the video. Let me know if you like it in the comments below. Let me know if you think it's a good idea. And for people who are interested in pushing off a project like this, let me know. There is some money to be made. And of course, concrete is much stronger than wood any day. And it will definitely help to solve some of the major issues in our community. And of course, we can keep cutting down the price as we go along. All right, so hello there, YouTube. Oftentimes we're told that there's no job, there is nowhere that will hire you to get things done. So I decided that today I'll pitch an idea for all those entrepreneurs out there, right? All those people thinking about what is there to do in terms of making money, especially in these times, right? We have to start becoming thinkers in our community. And one of the things that came to me was the entire drainage situation in my particular community, where we keep making small drains or digging small drains, and it keeps covering up. And so I thought, in other parts of the world they do something called a pre-built U-drain, right? So I'm going to do a pre-built box drain in pieces, and the thought is that you would be able to simply dig a trench then and assemble the pieces, place the pieces down quickly, and then quickly cover back the siding of that trench. And so it'll become far easier or far quicker in terms of placing in drains, placing in small drains near some of these streets that we have, that the streets actually serves as the drain for the town, right? So I'll give you guys a chance to see how I go through the process. And again, this is just a concept, right? It can be changed, it can be used by anyone here in town. So we're pre-building the box, you can call it box culvert or box drains, just to show you guys how it's done. So I'm making the mold today, and hopefully I can do the addition of steel and the casting of it, and also give you guys a breakdown of what I think the price will be for a particular unit, right? Just to see if it's feasible enough to pre-build these, have these pre-built, and then somehow use them as a part of our drainage system based on size, right? So look forward to that. those will serve as the bottom portions. I'll go ahead and I'll cut up the sides and do the assembly, and you guys get to see the final product. So it does take some time, right? Alright, so working on the sides, cutting out the side now with using plywood. Again, these are just old plywood that I had from my last construction project. But I'm going to actually share the actual cost with you, right? Please make sure that you're safe when you're using your power tools. I know a while ago I forgot to put on my safety goggles, so ensure when you're using a saw you are being safe, right? Alright, so I have everything more or less cut up. I still need a couple more braces, but I want to start the assembly process, and we'll see how that goes. And next step after this then is so we'll do assembly. From there we'll do a little bit of steel work to ensure that steel is within the concrete, and finally do the casting. Alright, but again, the molding takes a while, but remember that this molding is something that can be reused. Ideally you'd want to make the molding out of metal, but it's cheaper for me to find old boards and old pieces and put it together for a mold. And again, it's just molding cement. So one of the things I want to ensure is that they're properly braced, right? So that the cement doesn't space it out. Good. So assembly.
Production.
Low me no man, low me no man, low me no man, low me no man. Jagai dance. Peace, love, and unity. I don't know what to do with community. Tell them bring on the honesty. I'm equating the situation properly. Yeah. Peace, love, and unity. I don't know what we need with community. Tell them bring on the honesty. I'm equating the situation properly. Yeah. Instead I get better, things I get worse. Like the whole country in a reverse. Get a youth a ball, but when them thirst, in the church they can't sing a verse. Instead I get better, things I get hard. Get a youth in the get beat like that. Babylon look with eyes, see they don't scared. Just say figure them a wrong off a plot. Peace, love, and unity. And that's what we need every community. Tell them bring on the honesty. And make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah. Peace, love, and unity. And that's what we need every community. Tell them bring on the honesty. And make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah. From information to situation. Situation to information. Information, feed the nation. And when we find out them a pagan, find out them a dog, they bringing it hard. Tell them we never scared. Them have to prepare.
So that's the inside molding with all the necessary support. Remember that concrete will be pushing in, so we want to put the strength here, and we'll also have to add some more support over on top here. So basically the same procedure for the outside. I'm going to get that done so I can keep this video as short as possible, for space for the explanation, right? But doing the outside now, I can there move on to see works. Alright, so I hope you're getting the picture of where we're going with this. We are building the inside frame and then the outside frame, which will be used for the U drain, right? Calling it a U drain. There should be some sort of camphor on the inside that can be done later on. So let me put it together and give you guys more or less the idea. So we have our inside and we have our outside over there. And let me show you before I complete the total reinforcement of it, right? So the idea is this. You need a little bit more reinforcement, I agree. Right. And then this part. I see my mistake. Alright, but anyway, with the reinforcement added in, it means then that this entire area will take concrete all along, but I need to put in some sort of steel reinforcement also to hold that up. So I could use it as is, and it makes the drainage a little bit more shallow, which could still work, right? So I think we're doing that. Good. That gives me my spacing. So that's generally the idea we're heading for. We're able to fill on the sides with concrete and put in some reinforcement. And again, this is just a prototype, right? Could be better, could be stronger, but it's something that can be done, and this will be a mold that I can reuse over and over to continue to build the same size of drainage. Alright, so I almost have the molding finished. Just let me show you guys that. Everything reinforced, 1x4s around the edge to hold those in. I decided I'm going to fill it standing like this so that I can add some sort of continuity, if I can call it that, so you can join to the other one, or leave the edges rough so you can put concrete in between if you're joining these together. So all wooden frame. This is my mold. Everything is screwed together, so 2x4s at the bottom. Well, not at the bottom, no, the bottom of the drainages, but to the side to assist in holding all the pieces together because I'm using plywood. And then inner reinforcement so that the cement doesn't push this way, and 2 inner reinforcements on that. So again, it doesn't push the plywood in. Again, it's only 2.5 inches cement. Ideally, if you could make it 3 inch, it'll work, but 2.5 inch reinforced with steel will work, right? So I probably have a couple of steel lying around. I'll do some measurement with those and see if we can get those tied up, placing and cast this. Ideally, you would want, what would be the cheapest thing for this would be to use the mesh steel, but I don't have any other lying around, so I'm going to use regular steel and still give you guys some sort of pricing on that as it pertains to prices here at Belize, right? Alright, so the next step is to get the steel cut up. I have some straight steel lying around, so I'm using those straight steel, and again, like I mentioned before, a mesh would be much better and much more affordable, I think. So but straight, doing the measurement, getting the steel cut up. shape fits properly inside of the tiny steel. So do a couple more of these and we're good. Sturdy. So that's pretty much the metal frame that will sit inside. Like I mentioned, I think it's an overkill because of the treated steel, but definitely if we're doing this production wise, you'd want to use the mesh, right? It's a smaller steel, should be a lot cheaper, so you should cut down on the price also. So this definitely is an overkill. This is like building a house, but we want it to be strong, right? Alright, so frame set, steel inside. Next step, guys, is to get this casted up with some concrete, right? And it's here, so after lunch, hopefully I can do a little bit of mix and then get this casted, give it a day or two to kind of start the curing process. Hopefully I can remove the frame then and leave it to cure for a couple more days.
Like the whole country end up in a reverse. Get a youth a ball, frequench 10 thirst. In the church they can sing a verse. Instead of get better, things are get hard. Get a youth in the street, get treat like that. Babylon look with the eyes, see they don't scared. Just say figure them a wrong off a flat. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. From information to situation, situation to information, information feed the nation. And when we find out them a pagan, find out them a dog, they bringing it hard. Tell them we never scared. Them have to prepare. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. When the lightning strike and the trumpet song, watch the demon run off and they tongue. When the lightning strike and the trumpet song, what the demon run off and they tongue. When the lightning strike and the trumpet song, what the demon run off and they tongue. When the lightning strike and the trumpet song, what the demon run off and they tongue. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah. Peace, love and unity, and that's what we need in our community. Tell them bring on the honesty, and make we deal with the situation properly. Yeah, yeah.
Slate production.
So alright, so this is phase 3. Okay. Framework, steel, cement. Phase 3. Casting in the cement. It's going to rain, so I'm going to try to do it in between. Hopefully I can finish on time. By the way, the mix I'm using is a 5 to 1. Ideally, I would want 4 to 1, right? But stretching it. Alright, so cement mix, hopefully it will be enough. See if we can fill it in to the frame now and compact it down. Get the frame all wet up. Right? Some people would say you put oil on the surface of the wood. I'm actually hoping I don't. Alright, so quick issues. Had my frame failing on me. I have a little G clamp that in though. It's looking to rain, so I don't want my camera to get wet. So might need to switch off to the phone. But that first mix took me halfway. So I have to do a similar mix to that one to complete the task. Alright, so all filled up.
Tell them say,
Gonna give it about a day to
love in a man,
have it semi-pure, and I remove the frame from it.
love in a man,
And again,
love in a
frame
man.
opened up a little, so it needs a little bit of strengthening there. But overall, looks good. Can't wait to take off the frame. Alright, morning. Moment of truth. We want to take off the frame today. It's day one. We casted it in yesterday. I don't want to keep the frame too long, or the molding on too long, because I want to reuse the molding. So we're going to take it off and see how it looks. Alright, so that's the outside. It's actually nice. See some improvement I can do on my molding now in terms of having it threaded in with screws, so I can just take all the screws on the side and screw it back in, makes life easier, right? Inside one might give me hell to take off, but that's essentially how it looks. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of what everything costs and a little discussion. So that's it. So came out nice. The idea is that we want to keep improving on it as we go along. Fix up some of the little broken edges that I have, and pretty much it, guys. Another couple days before it cures. I say might be out here for a week. Want to make sure we wet it every day so it cures nice. Alright, so there you have it, the entire project from start to finish, so you can see how the process is. I had to speed up some of the video so I don't make it too long. I'm already at almost 30 minutes, and that's because I had to cut out a lot of it, right? But I do want to look at the pricing so we know exactly what we're talking about per unit, and that way it gives you an idea of what it will actually cost to run a drain, particularly in your yard, or run a drain across on a street. So we can do all of those measurements, and of course there's always some cost saving measures that can be put into place, right? So in terms of the molding, the creation and mold, I can say that the mold cost me somewhere around $87.50, and I'm adding in a labor cost of about $25 because it took me about 2 to 3 hours to construct the mold, right? Keep in mind that the mold is a one-time construct, and so if I can do let's say 3 molds, I can cast those each day and then take them off and reuse them the other day. So the mold is being reused. So it's just definitely an investment. It's a one-time investment then, let me call it that. So I'm estimating that I use a length of plywood, which will cost somewhere around $65. I use some 2x4x8 at about $6 each. I use a length of 1x4x16 at about the cost of $12. And screws, I use a pound of screws at $4.50, right? And I still have leftover screws from the first mold, so that price will definitely fall. And again, these are just the cost of actual wood if you're buying them from the wood shop. But if you can move around and pick up some old lumber, then that definitely will take down the price of your molds, right? So estimate a cost of about $100 per mold, or $112.50 like I have here. Ideally, you'd want these molds to be built out of metal. Of course, then the price goes up. But again, remember, it's a one-time investment, right? So definitely look into getting some metal molds built. The cost per unit, I have an estimate of about $31.25 per cost, and I'm estimating about $10 labor because it took me about an hour to cast it in. So if we look at that, then it means that I use 3/4 bag of concrete at about $15. That's the estimated cost. I use a wire, about 3 feet of wire, about 15 cents for that. Sand, 6 buckets of sand, $3. Water, 2 buckets at about 10 cents. Steel, I used a half length of steel, and this is 3/8. And like I mentioned, it will definitely be easier with mesh and even cheaper, and that brings me to $31.25 plus the labor will take you to $41.25 each. And you can easily sell a piece like this for something around $50 to $60. It's not a big profit margin like you would want, but again, the price of all of these materials can be cut down to something a lot lower, right? So I can use mesh wire, for example, to replace the steel, and I can use a mixture of gravel with the sand, and of course the amount of cement would be determined by how much I'm producing. So the more you produce, the more that price will go down, so keep that in mind. So there you have it, the cost for the molding, which is one time, and the cost per unit that I am estimating. And again, this is only an estimate, right? I'm sure that I have overestimated some of these prices, and so they could go down, so it'll cost less. So with that, you can do your calculation as to how much you actually need to set drainage into a particular road, and these are shallow drainage, or run it through a yard. Any questions, guys? Leave it in the comment below. Like always, go geek yourself.